Hey, everybody, and welcome to WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock with Carboni podcast. I'm your host, sports director Nick Carboni. You can find me on WCNC Charlotte weeknights at 6 and 11 with all your local sports content. And we do this podcast every week. We have for nearly a year now. We always focus it on somebody with a great Charlotte sports story to tell. So before we get started, if you could be so kind as to hit subscribe or follow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, however you are following or listening to this podcast, that would be awesome and really help us out. Today's guest is Brandt Bronico. He's a former Charlotte 49ers soccer star. He's one of the most productive players in that program's history, won numerous awards, had a lot of success as an individual player, and helped with a lot of team success there for the 49ers program, which has been really, really good and consistent over the better part of the last decade under Kevin Langan. He went out of the MLS, played for the Chicago Fire for a handful of years, was a fan favorite, but they had some front office turnover. Brandt was going to go somewhere. He wanted to come to Charlotte to play for Charlotte FC, our new MLS team, and he got his wish. And now Charlotte FC isn't going to start until next year, but Brandt is on loan, as they say, with the Charlotte Independents. So you can catch him at Memorial Stadium this summer. Please enjoy my conversation off the clock with Brandt Bronico.
It's great to be back. Great to be back in the Queen City. Great to be back around Charlotte and back in North Carolina in general. Being so close to my family and friends again is just amazing. But it's been good. Getting to know how to play with new guys. Trying to learn each other. The chemistry, implementing tactics and whatnot. So it's been solid. Obviously our first game didn't go as planned down in Tampa. But, there's a lot of optimism around the team and the guys, and I think we can really have a good season.
We talked a bit about, the things that people try to do and keep themselves busy during the COVID-19 pandemic. How did it affect and alter life for you? I know, did you get married during all of that? And, as a professional athlete, what has the last year been like for you?
Man, it's been crazy. I'm not going to lie. Just going from something you're just like, had no idea about, it's like so unfamiliar with, just coming up with protocols on the fly, trying to figure this thing out, getting stuck up our noses every other day, tested for COVID and whatnot, keeping our distance, but everybody did a great job with it, because nobody really knew what was going on. We just tried to be as safe as possible. And my wife and I, we did get married, maybe toward the latter end of the year, in December. So, some of the restrictions were eased, but definitely, a lot of people, had to miss just because precautionary reasons and grandparents and whatnot. So it's been crazy, but, it ultimately, it was a lot of fun, and everything ended up working out pretty well.
Well, congrats to you guys. Did you meet her on campus at Charlotte?
So she actually played for the women's soccer team.
That's right.
At Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we kind of met through that. So yeah, it was great.
Okay. I gotta add, does she watch your games, and do you come back from your games to text hey, technically you should have done this? How does she
every single game
as an audience member?
Literally every single game. She always watches, always supports, but she's also oh, it's all good. She's also oh, you could have done this better, or you could have done this. She's like, you did this well, but maybe next time you should do this. So it's nice, having a significant other that knows the game and can kind of critique you and give you another angle at it. Cause when you're on the field, you don't always see things that people see on camera. So it's definitely nice, having her support and her constructive criticism sometimes as well.
And let's make sure we get her name out here. What is your wife's name?
Her name is Rebecca.
Okay, awesome. Take me back to the beginning of this as an athlete. As you were saying, I'm just curious, I think March 11th is the day that we all will remember, for those of us who follow sports watching the NBA, but there were a lot of other sports going on at that time. Where were you in your season? Were you playing at that time? Were you just home? Take me what that experience was like for you, and what you thought might happen next with Chicago and the MLS.
Yeah, honestly, I think we just it was just our second game in the season. We were away at Seattle. Mm-hmm. We had 2 away games. We were away at Seattle the first week, away at New England the second week. And then we started hearing some of these other leagues canceling, and we're like, what's going on? And then eventually we were supposed to go to Orlando that weekend. And then they ended up canceling, I think 2 days before we were supposed to fly down there. And we were just like, what the heck? And everybody's like, you got to stay inside. You got to stay, you know, locally. Like, you can't go anywhere. Nobody knows what's going on. So it was, honestly, it was just such a weird time. So like kind of stressful just because, you know, a lot of uncertainty. But, you know, like they eventually, you know, figured it out, had protocols. You know, we went to the MLS's back tournament in Orlando, and then we were able to kind of, you know, finish out our season through the end of the year. But it was such a strange time.
Yeah. Okay. So when David Tepper comes into town here and starts talking about the MLS, obviously you've got your own career in the MLS that you're starting in another city, but does that kind of like make your ears perk up a little bit to hear the owner of your home state's football team talk about purchasing an MLS team? Like, did you follow it pretty closely?
Yeah, I tried to follow it. I didn't really know, like, you know, all the logistics. I didn't know like how serious it was. There was like rumblings about a team coming here. But then when I heard like Tepper started talking about it, I was like, oh shoot, like this, it might be for real.
He can get it done.
Yeah, that's a guy that gets stuff done. But yeah, I think they announced it at the end of like 2019.
December of 19. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when they officially announced it. And I literally like I called my agent that day, like right after I saw it, I called him and I said, look, I don't know how or when this is going to happen, but we got to get back there. Like, I want to play for this team. Like, this would be like a dream come true. And, you know, a year later, after like a pandemic, you know, it ends up happening. And I was just like, holy cow, like how in the world? But, you know, it's just such an awesome feeling being back here and being a part of, you know, the first ever Charlotte FC team.
Yeah, take me through the process of getting here then. I mean, it obviously worked out in the end, but it's not often a pro athlete can be like, hey, like, I want to get traded to that team, and then it happens. So how did that go down, and like, what was your reaction when it happened, and were you fairly certain that it would happen?
I mean, the stars just aligned pretty much. You know, Chicago brought in like a new front office staff, a new coach, like, you know, kind of cleaned house with all the older players. And, you know, they kind of told me, they were like, you know, we're probably not going to keep you, but we're going to try and trade you. And I was like, you know, okay, like, I get it. And it's in a sense,
great.
Like, you want to do your own thing. Yeah. Exactly. You know, you want to do your own thing, whatever. So they did that. And I got on the phone with my agent again. And I said, I know Charlotte pushed back their season, but, you know, if there's any way, like, I can be a part of this now, like, I would love to do that. And there were some other teams interested as well, but I was like, look, I don't care like about what the other teams want. Like, I want to be a part of this. Like, this is what I want to do. And, you know, eventually, you know, Charlotte and Chicago ended up working a deal where they could trade for me before I had to enter the reentry draft, which was great. Huge credit to, you know, to both sides for getting that done. And obviously I'm here now. So it was, like I said, another crazy time. They also announced it like on the day of my wedding. So
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember that now.
They started announcing it, and then I'm getting married the same day. So my phone is just blowing up. It was like, I mean, it was awesome. Like, it was amazing. Like, it was just like so many things going on at once, you know, trying to balance it all, but definitely a blessing.
So you were willing to come to Charlotte despite them not playing. You already knew they weren't playing until 2022 at that point, rather than go somewhere and play this year. I mean, you were willing to kind of ride that out just to be here, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is such like a unique and great opportunity, especially playing for UNC Charlotte for 4 years and just being so familiar with the city. I know, and after like meeting the staff, they hired such great guys, and that I believe in, and I'm happy they believed in me. And I was like, you know what, like, I need to be a part of this. Like, it's just like, it's for me. Like, this is, you know, when your heart's like calling for something, it's like, I got to do this.
That's awesome. Okay. So, I mean, you've played in the MLS a handful of years. You're from here. So you have like this unique perspective of basically envisioning what the MLS can be in Charlotte. So like, when you have that picture in your mind of pro soccer in this city, what does it look like to you?
Man, I feel like, the sky's the limit. I actually read like an article this morning on Axios,
Mhm.
Charlotte. It's like, it said like millennials love or move to Charlotte. Millennials love Charlotte. Millennials also love soccer.
Yeah.
And I think with Charlotte, like growing as fast as it can, you see all these other soccer matches from the International Champions Cup and the Gold Cup being played here and just pretty much selling out Bank of America Stadium. And then also, sharing the excitement with all of the supporters, this early and seeing how many people really support the club. I just think, I think the sky's the limit. Like, I don't think, like, I think it's going to be like a huge thing. And also MLS growing in the country in general.
Yeah.
Especially in Charlotte. I think it's the real deal.
Okay. So you grew up in High Point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like no pressure considering who your boss is now and he owns the Panthers, but like were you a Panthers fan? Did you come down to Charlotte a lot? Were you at Bank of America Stadium?
Yeah, we did. I'm a Panthers fan. And we did always travel down to Bank of America to watch the Panthers play. So no pressure on that. I love the Panthers. I love being a part of the atmosphere. I love going to games. So yeah, definitely a Panthers fan.
You were so productive, especially offensively in college. Did you have to, like, when you get to the pros, I mean, everybody in the pros is like kind of that guy, maybe not conference player of the year, but did you have to tailor your game at all? Like, are you a different type of player in the MLS than we last saw you in Conference USA here in Charlotte?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, when you go to the higher levels, you have to learn to adapt. Everything's not going to be perfect. You're playing with, some of the best players, definitely in the country and even in the world. I mean, you see a lot of guys coming over here that are performing and a lot of big names as well. So I definitely had to adapt. Whereas, like you said, I was more of an offensive player in college. So I had to learn the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
I wasn't like a huge fan of defending when I was
like
in college.
The college basketball to NBA transition in a different sport. I'm sure it's kind of similar.
Yeah, pretty similar. You're just learning the other side of the game and, how you can improve and adapt and, play your role in a team and in a squad. So I would say, yeah, the biggest thing is just like learning how to defend the right way in, so many formations. So I kind of had to tailor my game that way.
What have you kind of found a niche in the MLS? I mean, you've been here a handful of years now and will continue to be. So what would you say has kind of become the staple of your game and why a team like Charlotte would want to bring you on to help start their franchise?
Man, I think it's just, I don't know if you've seen my hashtag, but the grind set of it all. Really being that box to box guy, getting up and down the field, helping formulate the attack, but then on the other side of the ball, winning it back and then playing out. So, just kind of being that guy in the center that I wouldn't say like does it all, but like can do it all if needed to. To where, I can get the ball to some other maybe, more technical playmakers that, don't really want to do the defensive work as much as I'm willing to.
There's still like less than 5 of you guys that are Charlotte FC signees right now. Do you guys chat? I mean, it's an exclusive club at the moment.
Yeah, very exclusive. Occasionally, everybody's in season and it's tough because they can't really travel anywhere because of the pandemic. But yeah, I'd spoken to Sergio a handful of times and John briefly a little bit to Riley. But yeah, just inviting them out to dinner whenever they get over here with their girlfriends or themselves or their dogs. So just whenever they're able to get over here, really trying to link up.
How often do you get asked for Charlotte FC swag?
Oh, I mean, every day. It's like a nonstop. It's just like the main thing is the jersey, right? And people are asking for jerseys. I'm like, we don't even have jerseys yet. Like, I can't give you what we don't have, first off. But yeah, it's very frequently do I get asked.
I just want to jump back to college a little bit, and that program up there under Kevin has had a lot of success. I mean, they go to the NCAA tournament basically every year now. You're one of a lot of guys that have been picked into the MLS over the last few years. So how much pride do you have in that program and what are your kind of fondest memories of being a part of it?
Man, so much pride in the 49ers soccer program. It was such a privilege to be a part of that Kevin, like you said, he does everything right there in terms of creating a professional soccer player, as you know, from like the culture to the training to the environment to the facilities. He always makes sure it's top notch, and he emulates a professional environment there. So definitely a privilege to be a part of that. And you know, I would say, you know, in terms of getting to the next level, like I think a lot of guys, you know, if you really wanted to go pro, you have all the tools at UNC Charlotte. So proud Niner, proud 49er soccer guy. So, you know, obviously I love those guys over there.
And then back to Charlotte FC. I mean, it's still not complete. You know, you need coaching staff and a lot of other stuff. Do you get a sense of what, you know, the style of play might be yet, or like kind of the vibe around the franchise, or is it kind of still too early for that?
I would say it's still a little too early. Just we don't have enough like personnel on the field, like only 4 players. It's tough to tell like what kind of style they want. I think a real style will come out when a coach is hired, and you know, when he shares his thoughts and opinions on it. I know they obviously want to play like exciting style, where more attacking minded, you know, higher up the field, just off of talking to them a little bit. But I think, you know, a more like full style will come out when more personnel is hired.
Have you met David Tepper?
I haven't. I think he's the only guy in the office I haven't met yet. So I'm sure he's a busy man.
He's busy trying to get that Super Bowl ring too. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure in due time.
What are you excited about as you play with the Independents the rest of this summer? As you get to know these guys, and you know, they have a pretty rowdy bunch of fans too that I'm sure you'll see in person over the next few months. Yeah,
for sure. One, I mean, just being able to play soccer back in Charlotte. It was such a great experience here for me before. And 2, you know, being able to play downtown. I think our first home game down there is July 7th. So it's going to be exciting to see that atmosphere, one from the Charlotte Independence fans, but a lot of Charlotte FC fans also, you know, told me that they were coming out to some games. So
nice.
Super excited for all that.
We have to like get a t-shirt. They're probably going to ask you to like fire the t-shirt cannon out of a Charlotte.
Yeah, maybe after a goal or something. That'd be cool.
Brandt Bronico, I appreciate your time, man. And we're going to see you down there at Memorial this summer.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Nick. I appreciate it.
Again, Brandt playing for Charlotte Independence this summer. Their first home game at Memorial Stadium. Remember, they renovated it. They haven't played there in a while. That's going to be July 7th against New York Red Bulls 2. So Independence fans, Charlotte FC fans, both go check Brandt and the boys out this summer. Thank you for listening and watching the Off the Clock podcast. Again, if you can follow or subscribe, that would really help us out. We'll talk to you next time.